Okay, so Donald Trump is handing out presidential pardons like Halloween candy. And all it takes is pledging allegiance to Donald Trump or a $1 million donation. It's called pay for play, my friends. And here are the most recent recipients of a Donald Trump pardon. Do you know this couple? These are the Crisleys. This is Todd and Julie Crisley. And Todd and Julie were both convicted of federal charges. Todd was serving a 12-year sentence, and Julie was serving a 7-year sentence. And probably guess that if you are sent up on charges, federal charges for a 12-year period, you had to do something big, okay? To hear this guy tell it, he was targeted. Yeah, he was targeted because he's a celebrity. So maybe what he was doing was going on for years and years and years and years, but the DOJ never brought charges against him until he reached celebrity status. Okay, and then he was targeted. I think this is part of the defense that his attorney used. Let me play a clip of Todd after his release, and then I got a few more things I want to say about him. So here it is.
Even though this pardon has happened, I still was convicted of something that I did not do. It could be you. It could be you. It could be any of you. And somewhere in this room, someone has had a family member that has been affected by this system. So I understand the shame that's around it, but I refuse to feed into that because shame is like a cancer that just spreads. And I have
He's not holding himself accountable. He's the victim, okay? He's the victim, and that's the criminal mindset. I want you to know that is the criminal mindset. And I'll make a prediction about the Crisleys. They got a second chance, but I don't doubt that somewhere down the road they don't get caught up in some kind of other scandal, some kind of legal problems, and possibly end up in prison again. Because that's predictable. I did not know a lot about their reality TV show, which was called Crisley Knows Best. And I guess maybe that's kind of a takeoff on the old Father Knows Best show, which aired in the 1950s. Yeah, you'd have to be pretty ancient to remember that show. But I was flipping through the channels a few years ago when I still had, network television and cable TV, and I landed on their reality show, Crisley Knows Best, but I didn't know the premise of the show. And what I surmised, or what I thought I was watching, was a flamboyant gay man, possibly living with his surrogate children, and maybe his sister, or whoever the woman was. They're Southern Christians, okay? And I wouldn't hesitate to say Christian nationalists. They probably are subscribed to that ideology. I really honestly, I thought Todd was gay. I mean, he was a drama queen. He was flamboyant. He, listen, that's neither here nor there, okay? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit, Todd. If you're in the closet, come on out. It doesn't matter anymore. It's 2025. But, possibly your Christian values prohibit you from being honest and transparent about who you really are. That's a tough one. That's really putting, Jesus ahead of who you are. You'd rather persecute yourself and live a lie. That's a tough one. I think there's a lot of gay Christians that struggle with that. Yeah. Yeah, I knew somebody like that. I worked with a woman like that years ago who was a really devout Christian, but she was also a lesbian, and she said it was like a morality struggle between one or the other. And I'm like, well, shit, to me, it's no contest. Do what makes you happy. Do whatever makes you happy. I guess maybe that's too progressive of a way to think for some people. I don't know. But yeah, so Trump's handing out these pardons. And, the first slap in the face from him was pardoning all those January 6ers. Oh, my God. Not only did they get a get-out-of-jail-free card, it's my understanding a lot of them had jobs waiting for them with ICE. And yeah, you know what? They would definitely be qualified for jobs with ICE. I mean, these were the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, and a large majority of those people have military backgrounds. So, yeah, have them disappear people off the street. That's the perfect job for them. Yeah. So I was a little curious about the scope of the presidential pardons. Who can he pardon? What's his limitations with pardons? I didn't know any of this stuff, but I did do a little research, and I'm going to share that with you because this can't all be for entertainment only. I mean, we have to learn something or get something out of it, right? So in the United States, the power to grant pardons for federal crimes, including those that may have resulted in fines, penalties, and forfeitures, is vested solely in the president. According to Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, this power is not shared with Congress or the judiciary. The president has the constitutional authority to grant reprieves and pardons for federal offenses, but this power does not extend to cases of impeachment. Okay? Pardons can be granted for any federal crime, whether before, during, or after trial, and can be absolute or conditional. And while the pardon power is extensive, it is not absolute. The president cannot pardon themselves. Good news, friends. And let's see. Nor can they grant pardons that violate constitutional rights or criminal law. Okay, the pardon power is one form of executive clemency, which also includes commutation of sentence, that's the reduction of the sentence, and remission of fines, penalties, and forfeitures. Okay, Congress cannot legislate to limit the president's power of pardon. And the Supreme Court generally has been hesitant to impose limitations. Yeah, I guess, if it's in the Constitution, it's hard for the Supreme Court to argue with. But the good news is he can't pardon himself. And the bad news is that his power to pardon is far-reaching. But he can only pardon for federal offenses. He can't pardon convictions by the states. In other words, only the governor can pardon someone convicted of a state crime, okay? Which is good to know. In my opinion, I don't think that he has the moral compass to be handing out pardons. He is a convicted felon himself, and I don't think a felon should be able to pardon another felon, okay? Just my opinion. But, and I'll tell you something. I don't know how you feel about it, but I realize there are a lot of people facing capital punishment, people on death row. And I do believe there are some people on death row that did not commit the crime, okay? We don't have a perfect system. And I do think that we have put innocent people to death. Okay, as when I was younger, I had much more of a hardcore attitude about capital punishment, an eye for an eye and that type of thing. But as I've gotten older, I think I've realized that man should not have that power over another man. And it is a flawed system. And the wrong person could be put to death. In my opinion, life without the possibility of parole, to me, that's a much worse sentence, because you have every day for the rest of your life to think about why you're there, why you're incarcerated, and to maybe somehow own and atone for what you did. Okay, I don't think Crisley has done that. Crisley has not owned his crime. Okay, just my opinion. If you have any thoughts on the powers of the presidential pardon, please leave them in the comments. My name is Suzanne Harper, and this was The Sharper View, and I will talk to you again in the next one, and which will probably be pretty soon, because every day there's something new to talk about since we've had Trump in office. But we'll get through it the best way we can, right? So have a good one, everyone. Mwah. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.